Hello, my friends. It's year 14, week number 691, and this week we are back in California.
Kevinisomoto says, welcome to the vlog.
So I'm back now, but earlier this week, at the end of last week, I went to the December's Creative Morning Session. This is like their once a month event that goes on. It's always held somewhere different in the city. This month's event was held at the SVA Theater in Chelsea. So we woke up very early in the morning. We took the train out to Chelsea and we arrived at this theater that I've always walked past, but I've never been on the inside of. Now, the conversation, the way it was presented was like, they made it sound like it was going to be this whole presentation by Debbie Millman, this very famous artist designer. And so I was really excited to hear this because I'd always known about Debbie, and then to actually like be there in person to hear one of her talks was very exciting to me. But then it was very different from what I was expecting because it was actually the reverse. She was doing the interviewing of this other person on stage named Stefan Sagmeister. I learned about him though, but it was like less of Debbie, which is what I was truly there to listen to. Earlier this week, they sent out an email saying that they're giving away free headshots to anyone who wanted to get their photo taken. But it was one of those things where like you had to sign up in advance really early, and it was like limited to a certain number of people. And so as soon as that email came out, immediately signed up, and I got through, my friends. So do we actually need headshots? Absolutely not, okay? We do not need that at all. But I figure there's a professional photographer here who's going to be taking photos of people, and they're going to be doing it for free. Of course, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and get my photo done.
I can film it.
You can hold it for me? Okay, thank you so much. I want it horizontal though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold that.
How you doing? Good.
Hold that up high. Shoulders back straight. Perfect. There you go.
Also, the other thing about this event now is like, this is now my fourth or fifth one going to these things, and I find that every time I go, it's like a mix of meeting new people, but also seeing people that I remember meeting from the previous sessions. And so at this point, I feel like I'm finally getting into this momentum, this sort of feeling of like, familiarity of seeing the same people over and over again. So it's like very exciting for me when I go out to these things because I'm like, yo, I remember you from last time, you know, like just random people who are also there to check out whatever's going on for the event. In last week's video, I was talking about how I went on a date, and now this is the girl that I met about a month ago in the park. And so we went on another date last week, and then this week she invited me out to go to her brother's birthday party because it was her brother's birthday, they were celebrating, and the event was going to be at a karaoke venue. And now, I'm not a person who enjoys karaoke. That is like not an activity that I personally would go out of my way to pursue doing. But I think that in times like these, you just kind of have to get over it when you're interested in a person, because the want to hang out with the person is like far greater than my aversion to wanting to do karaoke. So we went to do karaoke, very like intense, loud sort of an activity that I'm not particularly fond of, especially in a scenario like this where there's a lot of people who I don't know, right? But we went to it and it was a fun time, you know? We went to this one karaoke venue it was kind of the Lower East Side. Is like this kind of a general area. A lot of these people came from out of state, so I was just kind of getting to know these different people and asking them about like what their thoughts are on coming to visit New York City.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you.
All right, one more song.
Losing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay.
So even though karaoke is a thing that I personally would not normally do, I thought that this was a fun event. It was nice to be invited by this girl, and it was kind of nice to meet her group of people that she hangs around with, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these people are in some way connected to her and her family, so it was just kind of nice to meet the other people there. Another thing from last week is I was talking about this Fruit Loops project that I wanted to do. I've got these giant boxes of Fruit Loops. I have this idea in mind, and this week we broke it down and we did the photo session that I had in mind. It is now time for Fruit Loops. I have 7 of the giant size. Notice the giant size there. This is the giant size Fruit Loops box. I have 7 ready to go because today we're doing the Fruit Loops photo/video idea that I have. I don't think I'm actually gonna need all 7 boxes, but I bought them all just in case we need them. The idea here is I'm envisioning this photo in which it's kind of centered up and it's in my bathroom. I'm gonna be laying in the bathtub, and the idea is I wanna make it look like I am lying in a bathtub full of Fruit Loops. Okay, now we don't actually need to fill the entire bathtub with Fruit Loops for this photo, so we're gonna kind of do a little bit of trickery to kind of fake the photo a little bit. So what I'm gonna be doing is, because the photo is gonna be from like right here and up, all I really need to do is fill up like this portion right here, this level high of Fruit Loops. I don't need to fill literally the entire bathtub with cereal. So what I'm gonna make right now is some sort of a makeshift like false bottom to my bathtub. Just like, I'm thinking about using just like trash bags and taping it along the sides of the walls of the bathtub, and then pouring the cereal on top of that thing and just covering up like this thickness of a layer of Fruit Loops so that it kind of gives the visual illusion of a bathtub filled with Fruit Loops, even though it's just like maybe 1 or 2 boxes worth of cereal. And then for the lighting, I'm gonna use this light. I think what I'm gonna do is just like shoot it directly up to the ceiling and then just allow it to bounce down. And then in the background, I'm gonna put these candles. So I have like these little things right here, and I'm gonna put this like on the side, and that's gonna kind of add to the visual element of the whole thing. So just kind of getting it set up, and then we're gonna be shooting this photo right now. I think normally when you do a photo like this, you definitely need an assistant because you can't be the subject of the photo and taking a photo like this at the same time. And so this is like a breakdown of my setup. So I had my camera all rigged up. I did this weird thing with like mounting the cereal in like this makeshift hammock thing. It was all very difficult, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of compositing and editing to kind of get this photo looking like how I want it to look. But I'm not working on it yet because work has been very busy and I've just kind of been doing other stuff this week. And finally, a few days later, we took a flight from New Jersey to Denver all the way to LA. And so we are now here in Los Angeles, California. I'll be here for the next few weeks and then going back to New York in early January. This has been year 14, week number 691. Thank you for watching. Next week in the video will be week number 692.